there are a few answers which you should definitely not give when asked this question. Don't say that you've never failed at anything. If you can't think of any failures immediately when the question is asked, let's say for instance in this video, what's your biggest failure? Even more reason to plan your answer, to make sure that you are giving a clear, concise answer, and not saying nothing at all. And not just trying to freestyle either. It can actually come across more immature rather than overconfident or arrogant when you say that you've never failed at anything. If record breakers can admit to failing on the way to breaking records, then I'm pretty sure we will fail in our pursuit of some form of goals. And if you've never worked, this can be a difficult question to answer. I agree. However, education is a constant test of our abilities academically and socially. So start to think outside the box about how you can actually answer this question, how you can formulate your answer, maybe your story, in an interesting and also factual way. So, putting your answer into a story, it helps you achieve two things. You relive the experience, you cover two aspects, which the interviewer is definitely going to be looking out for when they ask you this question. And that is, they want to know examples of when you failed, and also evidence that you overcome these failures. If you've been fortunate enough never to fail at any targets, then that's great. Explain a time where, for instance, you were given a task where you were tested to your full ability, and use that as your example as not failing but almost failing. Or why not give an example which is nothing to do with work at all? Why not use this opportunity to make the interview process a little less formal and introduce maybe an experience in your personal life which taught you a life lesson, which can be sometimes even more important than a lesson learned in your career. One area in life, just an example, if you need some, where I think we've all failed is when it comes to how we understand human beings, people. So whether it be relationships at work, your own personal relationships, or even relationships with your clients, I think we've all learned as we go along over the years how to better communicate with people, and maybe even how to better connect with different types of people. So initially you'll tend to be able to connect very well with people that you're used to being around. They may be in your same social class, they may be in your same intellectual group, but as you tend to get older, especially when you go into education or work, you learn to adapt and connect and find ways to actually find things in common with people who are not necessarily from your immediate background. And I think that's a major learning curve for me, and you may agree. So try and think back to maybe where you've had conflict with a colleague, someone in your personal life, and how you were able to overcome that, and how you learn from it. And that's just an example that you could use. So, what the interviewer wants to understand clearly is two things. Number one, what was the failure? Be very clear and make sure you get that across. Don't be shy to say, this is where I failed. But number two, what did you learn from it? And that's mostly important. How you actually overcame that failure. It's always important with a question like this to structure your answer to make sure it's delivered clearly and you cover everything that is important in the answer. A little acronym you can use just to remind you how to form the question and put it into a structure is WWH. And what that stands for is what or how. Okay, so what was the scenario in which you failed it? What action did you take? Once you realized that you had lost or you were on the way to losing. And how did that action, affect the overall outcome?